Welcome to Simmons Says, where I help emerging and struggling writers create intriguing plots and compelling characters to make their stories hard to put down and even harder to forget. Hi, I'm Alex Simmons, and welcome to another episode of Simmons Says, where we figure out what happens next in your story. Because I do that with mine, so why not do that with yours? In this episode, we're going to approach a rather interesting question. What do we really mean? We, being us writers, aspiring, emerging, struggling, whatever. What do we really mean when we say to ourselves, I'm going to make this story the perfect. I just got to come up with the perfect line, the perfect character. What? Yeah, I need. I'm going to start writing the moment I come up with that first perfect phrase. What are we striving for? What are we setting up to happen right at that moment? What is the goal? Where are we headed? We are headed at full speed towards a brick wall. The first problem is what is perfection? And really, I mean, what is perfection? What's perfection for you or for me might not be for 30 million other people. I mean, just think about your day to day. How many times have you sat down to a meal or a cup of coffee at a diner or something like that, and you take a sip and maybe you're sampling with, or somebody else has got the same order and they're going, oh, this needs more of this needs more of that. And you're thinking, oh, this is really good. This is perfect. I think this is great. Something as simple as clothing, food, a story, a book. I mean, something that simple in everyday life, one person can see as great and another person can see as mediocre. So, what is perfection on the grand scale when you're writing or creating something for an audience? What is perfect? I mean, if you can determine what is perfect for the masses, you're good. You're really good. But I don't think that's very helpful because what I believe we do when we say it's got to be perfect or I got to come up with that perfect this or perfect that. What we're doing is we're setting up excuses and barriers and paralysis so we don't have to write. Or if we manage to write, we're not going to be satisfied with it. And when I say satisfied, I don't mean, oh, okay, that's okay. No, I mean, we're going to constantly keep going at it and going at it and going at it and going at it and never letting it go, never letting it breathe, never letting it in front of another set of eyes, or even if somebody comes back with, this is really solid, this is really good, maybe if you do this and this is going to be even better, and we're going to go, yeah, I don't know, it's not right yet, and you're going to be in that sort of that spin, that loop of constantly going back and going back and going back and going back, or maybe never sending it out there to the masses. And if you are writing on a deadline, oh my goodness, what have you done to yourself? Perfect is in the eye of the beholder. That's first and foremost. And striving for perfection, especially if you're starting out, if you're an inspiring or emerging writer, that word is a crippler. I think the way one should phrase the goal of creating something is start out by going, I'm going to give it my best. I'm going to give it my absolute best effort. I'm going to do my best. You're not going to half step. You're not going to, maybe knock this out. No, you're going to do your best. See, that's a goal that you can actually aim for and you can actually measure because you're going to know when I just don't feel it. And you're going to know when, yeah, I put in those hours. The words, they're on the page. I said I was going to write for X number of hours or I was going to write X number of words, and there they are. I gave that a shot. I did that. I accomplished that. I did my best work today to hit that goal. And consistent. We can write from the muses and all that, when we're feeling it. But in reality, if you want to get something done, if you have, whether you have a deadline or not, if you want to get from the beginning to the end, you've got to keep working on it. Got to keep putting in the time. And so that usually means your first draft is not only going to be rough, it's going to be crap. It's not going to flow as naturally as you might like it to. The characters are going to be rough and dialogue's not going to sound quite authentic. There's going to be all these little things that are just not right. But you got it out of your head and onto a surface so that you can now look at it and begin to nurture it and begin to mold it and begin to remove or add or shift around until it flows, until it feels right. Not perfect, good. We're not saying aim for something like lame or mediocre or average or okay or this'll do. I'm talking about going for your best effort and trying to make that work good. You can even say, hey, this is great. I like this. This is really, you can go there. Don't worry about perfect. What is perfect? Leave that on the shelf. Leave that in a box in the closet. Because again, what does perfection mean? I believe there's oh, let's see, who was it? There's James Baldwin was known to be, you may have heard of him. He's quite a prolific writer in his day, right? And he at one time said, I know a lot of talented, ruined people, yes, but beyond talent lies all the usual words of discipline, love, luck, but most of all, endurance. Endurance to keep going, to keep pushing, to keep trying, to keep writing. Another quote of his was just because I'm reading from this, I want to get it right. You want to write a sentence as clean as a bone. That is a goal. Now, he's talking about simplicity. It's not about writing clever words and everything, starting it out. It's about writing sentences and dialogues that make sense, that are, yes, I understand what's being described. I understand what they are saying. Maybe there are layers beneath layers in the dialogue, but overall, I'm getting it. It makes sense. I'm following, right? You're not all confused. You're laying out this story in its very basic form. Why? Because you can build on that later. I know that Christopher Nolan is known for Memento, that film, and how that story, if you haven't seen it, you should. But basically, the story is this man who, he and his wife were viciously attacked in their apartment, beaten by attackers. She was killed. He was severely injured, brain damage, and now he has no long-term memory. And he seeks, after he recovers, he goes out to find the people that killed his wife. And, this is, yeah, it's a revenge film in that respect. But what makes it different from the other 100,000 variations of going out for revenge because they killed my wife, my dog, whatever, is that this man with no long-term memory can meet somebody and 15 minutes later forget. Now he's trying to track down people, he's trying to build up clues and information, but he keeps forgetting things. So he's got to try and record things when he encounters it with Polaroids and making notes and all that. So his story is very fragmented. He sees something one way and then later he can't remember it. So he's looking at the cards and he's looking at the photographs and he's seeing it differently. And we, the audience, are experiencing it the same way. Now, I know people, some of my students even have tried to write their own types of stories along this way, and they've tried to write the parts out of order. But if you don't know where you start and where you're going and how you got there, how do you do that? So, what you do is you work the story out first in its rough form. You make sure it's clear. Here's where I start, here's where I'm ending up, this is what happens in the middle. Okay, great. Now I understand that. And then, like with a mystery story, you move around. You distract, sleight of hand, clues, all of that. People lie, people tell the truth, deception, red herrings. All of that is done after you know what it really looks like to begin with. It's the same thing with writing anything. I have a system I call mystery mechanics. I can teach you how to write any story in any genre using mystery mechanics, my mystery mechanics. And really, again, same principle. I know how everything happened, so I know what I want to reveal and what I don't. I know in what order I want to reveal it. I know what kind of clues and things to lay out because I have figured all that out. But I don't do that in one simple move. It's layered. Get the rough story out and then start to refine things. If I'm thinking I got to make sure it's perfect to start out, what have I got? Now I'm fixating on every single step, trying to get that so that then the next, and then no, your first draft is going to be a mess. Your second draft is going to be a little better. Your third's going to be better than that. Blah, 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 blah. You actually want to ask yourself certain questions as you're striving for the best you can do. You're going to ask yourself, what's your story about? What are my characters going through? What do they want? What's their goal? What are they up against? What's the conflict? You're going to lay all that out. You're going to then write your story in its roughest form possible just to get it out of your head. Then you're going to start refining it and you're going to do your best work. You're going to strive to give it your 100%. That's your goal. And especially as fledgling writers, new writers, don't don't hyperventilate over it's got to sound just no. You got to get it out first. And then you make it better. It's that simple. There are steps and techniques and things that will help you do that. And those are things I'd be happy to share with you, either through my newsletter, my Simmons Says podcast tips, or if you want, reach out, ask me some questions. And if you want to reach out even more, I'll even coach you. But if all you take away from this is one thing, that one thing is don't even think about writing the perfect anything. Think about writing your story, getting your story out, and then making it the best you can possibly make it. That's your goal. Clarity and a good story that you put your best effort into. Okay, that's it for this episode of Simmons Says. And I would love to hear from you. If you got any thoughts, questions, remarks, you want to challenge me on this, that's all good. Leave a comment in the comment section, email me, okay? Send up a flare, whatever. And I'll see you next time when we figure out what happens next in your story here on Simmons Says.